right, today I want to kind of go over something new that we just released, and it's something that we're working on continually, but it's an interactive wire diagram simulator. Now, with that being said, it's got some fine tuning to square away, but essentially what this is geared toward is teaching you how to apply what you know about electricity to basic wire diagrams when it comes down to diagnosing an appliance. So with this simulator, pretty much what you can do, you come up here and we'll go with a no start scenario. Once you select that, it's going to give you the dispatch information. So for this one, the customer complaint is that the unit will not start. They push the push to start button and nothing happens. Instead of disassembling to make all of your checks, you decide you're going to access the timer connections and use live voltage checks to see where the failure might be. The condition for this is the door is shut and the push to start button is pressed down. So what we can do is we can start our simulation, and when we're looking at the diagram, we can see this is going to be a dryer, just your simple timer dryer. And what we can do is we can grab 1 meter lead, and let's just say we got line voltage coming in right there. All right, good stuff. We move this over here, and let's just put that at neutral. So into the unit, we have 120 volts. So, okay, well, let's make sure we're getting that 120 up to the timer. Looks like we are. Now, when it comes down to repairing appliances, as you know, when you're tracing out voltage, it's seeing where voltage is and where it isn't. And when it comes to a timer dryer, this is one of the more common types of diagrams, types of appliances where I see technicians all the time fully disassembling it to check, let's say, the thermal fuse. And sometimes it is the thermal fuse, other times it isn't. What happens when it's one of those instances where you take 10-15 minutes to fully disassemble it just to find out the timer isn't getting voltage or it's something else? Don't get me wrong, I'm all about taking the dryer apart, making sure the rollers are in good condition, there's not a whole bunch of lint buildup. But at the same time, when you're repairing appliances and you've got, maybe 8, 9, 10 service calls a day, you don't really have the time to spend, half an hour, 45 minutes taking a unit apart. So with that being said, with this simulator, what we can do is, let's just say we come down here. Look at that. All of a sudden it's 0 volts. Now, if you know your electricity, line voltage is coming through. Right there we had 120 volts when checking to neutral. So right there, we're getting 0 volts. So more likely than not, we have no potential difference between those 2 points. Now let's say we move up to that one side, we're still getting 0 volts. Let's go to the other side of the push to start switch. Hey, look at that. We're still getting 0 volts. Let's move this to that side of the motor. And of course, going there would imply that you have the motor taken apart. And what we want to do is really check at easily accessible locations where we don't have to pull apart the whole unit to check. So if we look there, we're still getting 0 volts, but look at that. If we go from one side of the push to start switch to the neutral terminal on the back of the unit, we're getting 120 volts. So what that should show you is from here all the way over, down through the motor, up to this side of the push to start switch, we have 120 volts. Now let's go to that side, and remember, per our dispatch, the push to start switch is pressed down. So we got that there. Maybe we come to this side. Oh, look at that, 120 volts. The dispatch right here said the door is shut, but we're getting 120 volts across that. So what does that tell you? It tells you the door switch is bad. Now look at that. Pretty much just by looking at the diagram and easily testable points, we didn't even have to take apart the dryer to figure out that our door switch was bad. Now what we can do, if you're having some difficulties figuring that out, we can toggle our voltage ends, and that's pretty much confirming our suspicion. Line voltage is coming down, it's coming up through right to the door switch. So in this instance, we have a failed door switch. So what we can do is we can pull up our diagnostic submission thing, and we can do bad door switch. Line voltage is coming up to one side, but it is not connecting neutral. And let's submit it. Now with this, it's using an AI instructor, pretty much comparing the notes that I have in the background to what you put in there. And look at that. Excellent identification of the failed component. Keenly observing the neutral path, which is a critical role. And basically it gives you a little hint there. So with that being said, that's pretty much how this works. As of right now of this recording, we just have the 2 scenarios on this, but we're going to be working on some more. And then of course we've got another one. And door switch is set, push to start is down. So, you know, plain and simple, you don't have to take the unit apart. You just have to understand voltage and how a diagram works. So, you know, let's say maybe we put that there. We put that there. Oh, we're getting 240 volts. That's cool. What happens if we put that there? 120 volts, 120 volts, 120 volts, 120 volts. Remember, view dispatch, our push to start switch is pushed down. So what does this reading right here tell you? So that's pretty much about the thick of it for now. Just wanted to give you an introduction. These, again, are completely free. Just come over to the website, appliancetechacademy.org, and you can find some here. We're going to be working up some more here in the short time, maybe a couple more scenarios added to this one, but feel free to tinker around, submit your diagnostics, get some feedback there, and start learning appliance repair.